In this lesson, I'm going to cover correlation. And to get started, I'm going to actually make a copy of the worksheet with our data. So I'm going to move this to the end. I'm going to rename it as correlation. And this is where we'll do our correlation analysis. I'm also going to copy all of our data and paste as values. We have some formulas in here, and basically what I'm going to do is delete some of the entries that we aren't going to use for this correlation analysis, just to simplify the data that we're looking at. So I want to only have the free and reduced percent and the child nutrition per pupil expenditures, state, federal, local, and total for this analysis. And so really what I'm interested in, or what we're interested in for this analysis, is the correlation between free and reduced percentage by LEA and the respective child nutrition per pupil expenditures. And there's a couple of ways we can carry out the correlation analysis. One is by using the function equals CORREL, and then we can select the data that we're interested in. And so we could start with free and reduced percent and the total child nutrition per pupil expenditures, 0.689. So there's a positive relationship. That's a pretty strong positive relationship between free and reduced percentage and total child nutrition PPE. And what that represents is that as the percentage of free and reduced meals, or students who qualify for free and reduced meals, increases, the child nutrition per pupil expenditures increase. So that's one way to create a correlation analysis in Excel. And you can replicate that multiple times. It's important to create labels to make sure that you're comfortable or aware of what analysis has been conducted. I'm going to actually show another way of using the data analysis tool pack. I'm going to also delete the state total from this analysis, just so we don't have that cropping up in any of our analysis. So for the data analysis tool pack, under the data ribbon, you click data analysis, and we see correlation is one of the data analysis tools we can use. If we click OK, we're going to get an input window. In Excel, we can select an input range of multiple columns, but they have to be consecutive columns. And so they have to be organized essentially the way we have them here. We can look at D through H. So we can select D through H. There are columns. We also need to tell it that we have labels in the first row. And for this, we'll actually just go ahead and place the output range in this worksheet. We've got to tell it where we're going to place it. And if we hit OK, we're going to get our correlation coefficients for these variables that we selected. We need a little bit more space so we can read the values here. So we have percentage free and reduced in the first column and first row, and as we work down, state, federal, local, and total child nutrition per pupil expenditures. We see the same labels across the columns, and each of these are related to each other perfectly. So there's a perfect correlation between percentage free and reduced and percentage free and reduced. That's why we see the ones in the diagonal. And it would be a mirror image to show the correlation coefficients above that diagonal, and so it's only shown just below the diagonal, and this is a typical way to present the correlation coefficients. As I mentioned, the most important thing, or the thing that we're most interested in, is the relationship between percentage free and reduced and each of the PPEs. And so we see for the state per pupil expenditures with child nutrition, there's a positive but mostly a weak relationship between free and reduced percentages and those per pupil expenditures. We see a positive and very strong relationship between percent free and reduced and the federal per pupil expenditure. So this might be something I would highlight, something I want to come back to as we go further in the data. The child nutrition per pupil expenditures from the local agency has a negative and moderate strength relationship between it and the percentage of free and reduced students. And so what this means is as the percentage of free and reduced students increases, the local child nutrition per pupil expenditures goes down, or vice versa. So we're not yet working on the causation or what that relationship is. We're only looking at how these are correlated. And then we see a similar strong positive relationship with the total per pupil expenditures and the percentage of free and reduced students. And so this is a nice quick way to develop a correlation analysis on your data.